Good morning. Last night I went and bought a battery. 9 PM on a Sunday night I went and bought a battery. Imagine that. And it's about 110 quid for a Bosch one. Not as big as I would normally get. I normally get it a bit longer. This is 70 amp hour, but it is 750 cranking amps. There were lots of choices available, but I thought I'd go for a quality battery. So I'm about to hook this up and see what the actual mileage is and test a few electrics. And then I've got to drive around the corner, so I've got a bit more shade and a bit more flat ground. Moment of truth. So the speedo mileage came up. Kilometrage. There we go, 176. Put the key in. See what happens. Kick in, that's good. Huh. I think the aircon fans have come on. Low fuel naturally. Bloody hell. Okay. Let me get that clipped up. There we go. Next stop is to fix the fuses. All these should be 10 amp and we've got 15, 20, 30 on a lot of these. Which isn't great. Either they fitted those because they've not had 10 amp ones, or because the 10 amp blows and then they fit a larger fuse to prevent the fuse blowing. Which we all know what that means. So I think before I move it, I should put the fuses in and see what happens. 20. You should be in the second from the left. There we go, much better. Got 10s all along here apart from that one, which is fog light. This one here, I'm not imagining I'm going to use the fog light, but to be aware of. These are all correct now. There's one missing. I don't have another 5 amp. I've used up all my 10s on the bottom row there. On the other one, that should be a 10 and it's a 20, but that's the reading light, I think. God, I'm glad I bought all those fuses. Classic. I've seen this so many times. I mean, what I was expecting is like bits of wire, you know, just jammed in one bit, ran into another one, because I've seen that quite a lot. Right, I've potentially just fixed something because the side lights are on, and they're on permanently. No ignition. What have I done? Well, I shouldn't have done anything because that's not normal. If I put a fuse in where there didn't exist, well, there wasn't one maybe. Yeah, so from the photo that one was missing, which is one I've put in there, and that is that one, which looks like headlamp levelling and speedometer. Let's pull it out and see what happens. Yeah, and the light's gone off. Gone off. Why would that be? That comes on. Huh, they come on then. That's an interesting mystery. I'm going to have to diagnose that a bit more when the engine's actually running to see if headlamps come on or what that's all about. First, I've got to fix this, which I think is what's causing it to stopping the door locking. Right, this door has been buggered up at some point. Possibly from that. This is all new, so this is the new part. It's not been painted. The key doesn't actually work in here. And the locker doesn't turn, but I can... And that's closed. It does lock. So I'll just work with that. I should probably get some fuel first, and then go and park up in the shade and test the lights and stuff. But those headlamps things, these are electrical's the thing that's going to stop it getting through the MOT, because it's kind of one of the only things they test is function of the lights and that kind of stuff, and brakes, and that is what classes as a safety roadworthiness inspection. Alright, we're going to go for first start. Okay. so it's holding on the handbrake. That's a good start. It's not bad. Fuel is completely low. Let's check out the engine. No horrendous noises. Let's check the alternator voltage. 14.07. There's the revs. So that's 14 volts. Should ideally be a little bit higher. Brakes are a bit soft. Right, handbrake off. Actually, they're quite sharp. They're quite sharp when you push it down far enough. Clutch is quite low. See? Yeah, clutch is very low. 9 litres of fuel for 10 quid. It's got some black smoke. I've pulled over, found some flat ground with a bit of shade. Time to do the rest. So I've just been wanting to mount this high lift jack. It's got the 2 brackets built in, but when they've put the plating on, put it back in the wrong position. It doesn't line up. Managed to get one on, so I get the position right. That's the next problem. Right, worked out on the end, just about fits. Okay, very slight play in this wheel bearing. Left hand here, the noise. The noise from the diff. Let's open that up. Let's listen. That's front wheel. That one felt a little bit notchy in the wheel bearing, but there was no play. Let's see what's behind here. Okay, at least it's greasy. That's a good thing. Let's check out the play. A little bit of play. Don't hear any rumbling. Mostly the brake disc that's rubbing that you hear. Why was I playing this one? I'm going to say that's dry in there. Then it's all leaked out. You can see the seal is absolutely buggered. Bit of play, but also greasy. This is the left hand side front. So to check the oil level on the front, I've got to take this guard off. 13mm there, 17mm there, and I didn't bring my 17mm spanner because of weight. Oh, I do love lying in the back streets of Yerevan on gravel and broken glass. There's just stuff everywhere. That's not great. What am I doing? Crikey, that thing is heavy. Well, it's very well designed. You can see it track, the steering guide goes right across here, protects the trap rod and the diff, and now we've got access for the drain hole right there, and better access for the filler hole as well, because I've only brought my, see if this will, yeah, this will reach in there now. That's good. Right, well, front diff has got fluid in it. I had to close that up pretty quick because it dribbled. It's pretty dark, as you would expect from oil. You don't know when it's been changed. That's good, so I guess we can assume the front diff is good. Come to the box. Nothing, so it's probably quite down. There is oil on it. It's fairly clean. The fill plug is completely chewed up. Right, I moved into the shade because it's getting hot. It's 11 o'clock. Checked all the lights. They all work. Windscreen wipers work. Washer pumps work. Front and rear. Amazing. That's all good. Reverse light works. So lights are good. Horn works. Probably should get through its MOT assessment. Gearbox, the fill plug is chewed up. It's the Torx 55 and it's chewed up. Ironic, hey, Torx is designed so that it's not going to slip, but it's kind of slipping a bit. It looks like it's had a gouge taken out of it. So the gear change it's quite crunchy, it's rough, moving into, it doesn't just go slot, it's got resistance all the way in. It feels like you're dragging across sandpaper or a bed of nails or something, some corrugated. So I don't know whether, at the moment I can't tell how much oil's in the gearbox, and if I can't get that fill plug done, then in my experience there may be a bit of a leak, in that whole area. Some of it may be gearbox. In my experience, if there is a leak, the gearbox doesn't drop that quickly, because I've got one on my 97 Defender. It doesn't drop that quickly. But the servicing records, or the servicing sheet that was used for this vehicle in its early part of its life, was change the transmission fluid every 80,000 kilometres, 50,000 miles, which is about 4 times less frequently than you should actually. I think the problem was they used a generic servicing sheet for all their vehicles, and they had loads of different vehicles, not just Land Rovers. So that could be part of the reason why this is like this. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to blow up, but if I can't check the oil and potentially put some good oil in it, yeah. Also, the rear diff doesn't sound that healthy when the rear wheels are jacked up and you rotate them. Could it be worse when it's running? One of the options is driving with the rear prop off. Driving with the front prop off is quite easy because you've still got the handbrake drum on, but driving with the rear prop off, you've got no handbrake at all. The only other way is taking the half shafts out of the rear. I mean, there's something wrong with it. I think there's something wrong with it. I could put oil in it because I haven't driven it. I've only driven in second gear so far because it's not got the MOT. Once it's got the MOT, put some oil in it, see what it's like driving at normal speeds, if it's noisy or something like that, and I'm gonna have to make a judgment on that. Not great. The only other option, take the rear prop shaft off, get a yoke, just a little bit of the yoke to hold the handbrake drum on, put it in diff lock, drive it in diff lock. Luckily there's the plating on, they've buggered around and there's only been a few sort of tech screws been put in the gearbox tunnel, so I can now see. It looks a bit buggered around with, it's difficult to get a close-up view of what's going on, but I think if I get an extension through there, because I've got all this lined up, if I get an extension on there, put a load of pressure in that way, get a load of leverage, I've got the breaker bar here, and I might be able to get it off. I think there's no need. I managed to crack it. Praise be the Land Rover gods. Okay, good. So it came out and it dribbled. It dribbled on there. And this is what came out. Slightly golden, so not red, not ATF. The mud, the dirty bits from wiping it off the casing, but it's fairly clean. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's got oil in it. Yeah, the gearbox is still notchy, but in any case, I may not have to replace this, or may I? I don't know. If it's golden, it means it's probably MTF 94, so I don't really want to be putting ATF in it, ideally. So I haven't moved into the shade. It's nice, lovely and shady. This tree drops these fruits. I thought they were seeds, but it's actually fruit. I don't know if it's a loganberry or what, but just so sticky, mashed up on your feet. Might be a loganberry. It's me off with my tools again. Back to my work site. Looking a bit shaded. A bit more shaded from the other side. So I can carry on. It's almost 6 PM. It's sweltering. Now I can carry on with the engine oil and rear diff. I don't think I'm going to do the front diff or the driver's box or the gearbox because they're full, and it all looks average. It doesn't look horrendously worn or old or anything like that. The rear diff's really foamy, so that needs replacing. Plus it's got a bit of noise in it. For the engine oil, I've chosen something a bit more special than just bog standard, because around here bog standard stuff might be a bit too bog standard, but anyway, we've got branded 10W40 because it's hot. I don't want to put in a 5W40 in a hot climate when it may not have been used to it, and we've got the right specs there. So 7 litre of this, 4 and the 3, cost me £81. Nice. That oil filter is on bloody tight, so I'm going to have to use a strut wrench, probably from the top. It's just about enough room. And it's starting to slip. Let's go in a bit. Right, I should be able to do it by hand now. Right, nicely filled. Let's go. Oh, good. And tight. There we go, double bagged. What you really need when you do this: plastic bags from foreign countries, somewhere like Asia, because they don't have those holes in that stop kids suffocating themselves. So they're completely leak free all the way down. Double bagged. Never done one with these sump plugs. That is sweat dribbling out of these gloves. Let's switch to my tiny ratchet. I'm glad it's not windy at the moment. It says 10 litres. How far is it gonna go? So there's the question of whether to reuse the sun washer or not. That one is copper, and it's sort of convex. Got new ones that are aluminium. Whether it will strip the threads on the sump trying to crush this down or not. Considering this one's not been leaking, I might put this one back. just my hands wet. Gently does it. Whoa. Now for the rear axle. Oh, I've just seen a mosquito. That's not fun. Pooey. That can is getting closer and closer. Right, that's all drained out. We'll look at that in a minute. Now to fill. I'm using my hated pump. You can go and check out my video I did reviewing oil pumps, but this is the one I hated. But I only hated it for its longevity. Its practicality is quite interesting, it's quite useful. It's difficult to store cleanly, well maybe not, put it in a bag, but it always used to end up failing and pumping loads of fluid out. But in this situation, to bring something clean and fresh from the UK, and then just use it with oil bottles in the back streets of a foreign capital city. It's amazing. Right, rear axle done. It's getting a bit, well, I think sunset's happened. I'm going to push on and do the fuel filter, I think, because I'm dirty. Right. I'd use the power wrench on that as well. God, they do these things uptight. Right, we're ready to go. Yes, I did bring a milk bottle from the UK. Right, start the engine. This is all my waste. 6.4 litres of engine oil went in there. Gloves off. That's some wrinkly fingers there. Well, that's a wrap for today. About 13 hours today on the go. It's good though, a lot of things ticked off. Tomorrow we're going to look at the rear wheel bearings, jack it up. I bought some axle stands today, so we'll see if anything untoward's going on there. And the day after that is the MOT inspection. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.